If you're learning English, you might have already asked yourself, what's my level? Lots of learners feel stuck because they don't know where they stand. Are you still a beginner, or are you actually fluent, but you just don't realize it yet? The truth is, English fluency isn't good or bad. It's a scale with different stages along the way, and knowing your level can really help. It shows you what to do and what steps to focus on next. We'll go step by step with all the levels from A1 beginner to C2 proficient. I'll keep it simple with real life examples, so maybe you can recognize yourself in one of them. By the end of this video, you'll have a clear idea of where you are and where you're heading. A1 beginner. This is the very first step. At A1 beginner, your English is simple and very limited, but that's okay. Everyone starts here. You can use very basic words and phrases like, hello, my name is Lucia, or I like pizza, or thank you, you're welcome. You can talk about yourself, your age, your country, and maybe your job. You understand a bit when people are speaking slowly and clearly, but if they speak a little bit too fast, you might get lost. Reading is also simple. You can understand menus, signs, or short sentences. Think of it like this. A1 is your English survival kit. You can buy food, ask for directions, tell someone where you're from. But longer conversations, probably you're not there yet. And that's fine. The goal at A1 is not about perfection, so don't worry. The goal is to communicate something, even if that's very simple at the beginning. A2 elementary. At A2, your English is starting to be more useful. You know more words and you can start to put them together into short sentences. You can talk about your family, your hobbies, what you ate yesterday, or even what you plan to do tomorrow. Travel becomes easier too. If you visit another country, you can ask for directions, order food in a new restaurant. People still need to speak slowly to you, but you don't feel completely lost anymore. You can also understand short, simple text, an email, or maybe a sign like no smoking or no parking here. You still make mistakes with grammar, but the most important thing is your communication is getting better. B1 intermediate. Now English starts to feel more natural. When you get to B1 level, you can start to have longer, slightly more complicated conversations. You can talk about your weekend, your job, or maybe your plans for the future. You can explain your opinion on simple topics like why you like this movie, or why you liked the food that you ate at the restaurant yesterday. Travel is much easier now. You can check in at your hotel, ask for directions at the airport, maybe ask about the bus timetable. You don't need people to slow down as much, but you might miss a word if someone's speaking a little bit too quickly. Reading is more comfortable now, so you can understand short stories, articles, or maybe some social media posts. Writing emails or messages is possible now, although you might still keep them short. Grammar mistakes still happen, but the meaning is clear. At B2, English becomes a real tool for life. You can talk to native speakers without too much effort. You can explain your ideas and your opinions and even argue your point. You don't need to overthink every word, and sentences just come out more naturally. Movies and TV shows are much easier now. You can follow what's going on without having to pause after every word or sentence. Writing feels much easier now. You can write emails, reports, or other longer texts without struggling too much. The best part, you can show your personality a bit more with English now. You can make a joke, be a bit sarcastic, tell people a funny story, and they'll get it. Sure, you'll make mistakes sometimes, but generally people are going to understand you pretty well at this point. And it doesn't stop communication, even if you're making mistakes. At C1, English isn't just something you use anymore. It's something you live in. You can join fast conversations without getting lost. You can read complicated articles or listen to podcasts and movies without using the subtitles. You can express yourself in many different ways: formal, polite, sarcastic, for example. If you're writing for work or study, you can make your arguments more clear and convincing. So you don't just say, "I like it." You can explain why you like it in detail. People don't need to explain references to you anymore. You can keep up with jokes, cultural references, and everyday slang and idioms. Sure, you might make a grammar mistake now and then. You might even forget how to use a word, but you sound fluent and very natural now when you're speaking English. Next, C2 Proficient. At C2 level, your English is basically the same as a native speaker. You can read anything from novels to academic papers and understand it. You catch the small details like humor, irony, and hidden meanings. In conversations, you don't just communicate, you can play with the language. You can use jokes and idioms, shift your tone depending on the situation. You can explain very complex ideas without losing your listener. So basically, you will sound more natural and precise. Writing at C2 is the same. You can write complex essays or stories with style. Your grammar is also pretty much perfect, and you can choose words that match the exact feeling that you want to describe. Okay, so now you know the 6 levels. But the question is, which one are you? The truth is, most people don't perfectly fit into one box. Maybe your speaking feels like B1, but your reading is a bit closer to B2, and that's normal. So here are some easy ways to check your level. First of all, you can use some online tests. So these are some quick tests online that give you an idea of your current English level. These usually take about 10 to 20 minutes, and they might tell you what level you are from A1 to C2. And just remember, it's only a guide, it's not the absolute truth. Or you can ask a teacher, like me. A good teacher can spot your level after just a short chat. They'll listen to your grammar, your vocabulary, your fluency, and put you in the right group. This is usually more accurate than an online test. Next, self-check with real situations. Can you order food in English? That's A2. Can you tell a story about your weekend? That's B1. Can you argue your opinion and explain why? That's B2. Can you understand a podcast without subtitles? That's C1. Can you read Shakespeare and get the jokes? That's C2. The best way to know your level is when you use English in everyday life. Your level shows itself when you actually speak, read, listen, and write. Not everyone needs to reach C2. Your goal level depends on what you need English for. So here's a simple guide. For traveling, A2 is often enough. You can order food, book a hotel, check in at the airport without any stress. For working abroad, so basic jobs, customer service, B1 is a good target. You can handle everyday conversations and simple problems. For university or academic study, B2 or higher. At this level, you can read textbooks, follow essays and lectures. For professional jobs like business, law, or medicine, C1 is ideal. You'll need to write clearly, join meetings, and explain complex ideas. For near native fluency, like teaching or translation jobs, for example, C2 level is the best. This is where you almost sound like a native speaker and your fluency is at a very, very high level. English learning is a journey, not a race. Maybe right now you're at A1 or B2, it doesn't matter. What matters is that you keep moving forward step by step. Each level gives you new freedom. At A1, you can say, hello. At B1, you can share your weekend. At C1, you can explain some complex ideas. And at C2, you can play with the language like it's your own. Don't stress about being perfect. Focus on English every day, talking to people, listening to podcasts, and watching movies. So ask yourself this: what's your level today and how can you make progress for tomorrow? I hope you learned something new today, and Don't forget to like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video. And don't forget to like and subscribe if you liked this video and you want more English learning tips like this one. Okay guys, see you next time.